Hello everyone! If you're interested in using storytelling approach in the young learners classroom, then this video will give you some ideas how to present stories, how to act them out with young learners. Stories are a fantastic way to excite young learners' imagination and to engage them in the process of language learning. If you are lucky enough to have a course book with stories integrated like playtime or family and friends or bright ideas, then you don't need to answer these questions: how to choose an appropriate story for my young learners, or how to reduce cognitive overload that children experience when they read or tell stories in a second language. Let's start with presentation. Each story should be spread across several lessons and has a receptive and a productive stages. In the first lesson, during the receptive stage, children listen to the story and follow it in their books. In the second lesson, during the productive stage, children recall the story, listen to it again, and try to act it out. Animation version of the story is also an effective way of presenting the story in the classroom, and it also can be used at home to consolidate what children learn in the first two lessons. This means that by the time children come to watch the video, they have a good understanding of what the story is about and they are familiar with keywords and phrases used there. Now we are going to consider some ideas how to act out the stories with young learners. There are various ways of acting out stories depending on the size and nature of your class. For example, acting with a lead group, or acting as a class, or acting in groups. So let's start with acting in groups. Firstly, decide as a class on actions for each character at each stage of the story. Then divide your class into groups so that there is one child to play one character. Then play the recording. Children practice their lines if they have any in their groups and doing some actions. At the end of the exercise, invite some of the groups to come to the front of the class and act out their stories. You may wish to act out the story as a class. Then decide on the actions which children can do at their desks. Then play the recording to practice reciting the lines, and finally play the recording again for children to give their final performance. And finally, acting out with a lead group. This is a combination of the two previous procedures. Firstly, you decide as a whole class on actions, then you divide your class into groups so that there is one child to play one character. But this time, all children should be facing to the front of the class and they don't need to leave their seats. Then ask one of the groups to come to the front of the class, play the recording, and ask the group to demonstrate actions to the class. Then play the recording again for the rest of the children to join with their actions. So, why does acting out the stories in the classroom matter? Students of any age benefit from associating language with movements and actions. One of the main obstacles to learning language is self-consciousness. Drama, by appealing to imagination, allows students to lose themselves in the story, thereby increasing their communicative ability. By developing performing skills, they become fluent in expressing real-life situations, starting with stories in the classroom and then moving on to real-world content. That's all for now. If you have questions about storytelling approach, ask them in the comments and we'll try to answer them in one of our next videos. And again, thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day and see you soon.